First aid is very important. It could potentially save a life. It is called first aid because it could save a life in that minute. Most times we call it a golden minute, or other times we call it a golden hour, depending on the condition that someone has got. In today's video, we are going to be talking about first aid. What is first aid? Why do you have to know about first aid? When do you have to do first aid? And why you should know about first aid. So first aid is the treatment that is given to a person in the first few minutes after they get an injury or if they are injured. Let's say, for example, if I cut myself, the treatment that I receive in the first 5 minutes or in the first 1 minute, it is called first aid. It is life-saving, and this is why you should do it. If you do first aid rightly and correctly, you could save a life. If you don't save a life, you might preserve a life. Preserving life and saving a life are different in their own ways. Preserving a life, let me say, for example, someone has gotten burnt, but if you do first aid rightly, you will save their life to a certain extent. You will cool their body, save some cells of their body, and you could preserve their life more than if you did not do anything. So let's talk about why you should do first aid. There are 3 major points. 1, you may preserve their life. Then 2, you might save a life, because if someone collapses in front of you and you do something in that golden minute, you will save their life. And the other thing is that you prevent further damage to the body. For example, if I've gotten a fracture and you know how well to handle that fracture, you could help me and save me from, breaking other things, maybe getting an amputation or what we call cutting off of the body part. So when do you have to do first aid? In our communities, we have different scenarios, different accidents, snake bites, burns, dog bites. So there are different scenarios when you can do first aid. So I'm going to mention a few of them because they are many. They are very, very many. So the first one, usual one, is our dogs in our communities are not vaccinated, especially in Uganda, our motherland. We do not have our dogs vaccinated. So if you get a dog bite, please do first aid and go visit a hospital. Then if you get a snake bite, most of the snakes are dangerous, they have venom, and I'm sure most of us have heard of that. So even when a person gets a snake bite, please do first aid. If you get a burn, many children come to hospitals with burns of the arm, full body burns. Please do first aid so that you preserve or save their lives. The other time you could do first aid, if someone is electrically shocked. We have electric wires maybe in our houses, we have electric wires in our communities, transformers. If someone gets a burn from an electric source, please do first aid for them so that you could save their lives. If someone gets an accident and they are bleeding profusely, please do first aid so that you can save their life. If someone falls down, if someone cuts themselves, they are scenarios that would lead you to do first aid. Hope you've learned something about first aid, why you should know about first aid, and when you should do first aid. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.